Did you know that the heat-trapping gas methane is one of the most harmful greenhouse gases in the world? Human sources of methane emissions have been growing, not showing any signs of slowing down. Fossil fuel production and livestock farming have caused severe increases in methane levels. Together, these two sources are responsible for 60% of all methane emissions. Did it ever occur to you that a single day of cow burping can be more harmful to the environment than car emissions? One of the most urgent issues facing our planet is methane. Methane is known to be an even more harmful greenhouse gas than CO2. During its first 20 years or so upon being released into the atmosphere, methane's warming properties have been found to be 84 times higher than those of CO2. Even though CO2 has a longer lasting effect, methane sets the pace for warming in the near term. At least 25% of today's global warming is driven by methane from human actions. 90 to 95% of cattle emissions come from cow burps, while 5 to 10% come from cow manure. CO2 stays on the Earth longer, but methane is a lot worse for the planet. Human activities like natural gas extraction and agriculture have more than doubled methane's impact since the pre-industrial era. Removing methane from the atmosphere won't stop climate change on its own. However, converting methane into CO2 could play a key role in preventing the worst effects of global warming. Pulling methane out of the atmosphere can help slow global warming in the next few decades, but researchers are still trying to figure out if it's really feasible. Unlike CO2, current technologies are insufficient to deal with the management of methane. Methane needs to be cut and pulled out of the atmosphere. I'm Jan Millman, and what I'm proposing is what I'm calling the Methane Innovative Filtration System, or MIFS. The concept for MIFS is based on MIT's scientific research of using zeolite-based solutions for methane conversion to design a portable, affordable air filter that can be widely distributed to agriculture centers. The ideal location for such systems would be in places where there are concentrated sources of methane, such as dairy farms and coal mines. MIFS is an air filter system that works kind of like a cat litter box, where an air filter is inserted into the barn ventilation system. It absorbs methane before converting it into CO2. What is the process to use MIFS? Well, first, the farmer buys our MIFS filter. He then attaches MIFS into the ventilation systems in the dairy farms. Finally, the ventilation systems absorb methane from cow burps, which is then converted to CO2. MIFS filters are tailored to fit into most standard ventilation systems and can also be custom sized if needed. When the cow burps, the air will flow through the filter and into the vents. The methane will get absorbed and converted to CO2. My product is easy to use, relatively cheap, and it comes in with a built-in monitoring system. So how can a simple filter accomplish such a big job? Let's take a closer look. Over the past few years, some advanced research on methane reduction have been pioneered by the MIT research team led by Professor Desiree Plata. The research has found that by combining zeolite and copper, methane can be converted into CO2. Here's a diagram of how the process works within a filter. You can see how methane moves through the copper and zeolite, transforming the methane into CO2. My product is really easy to use. All you need to do is attach the filters to the ventilation fans in the cow barn. And this filter consists primarily of zeolite, which is a cheap and abundant material. So are there any side effects of using MIFS? The cow's health are not altered. They do not have to change their diets or wear uncomfortable masks to capture methane. And this simple, low-cost, sustainable practice could mean higher profits for the beef industry, an industry that is worth around 30 billion US dollars. And most of all, the results can see up to 60% reduction of agricultural greenhouse gas. So how does this play into the future of beef production? In order to achieve a net zero food impact by 2050, it is important to reduce emissions from beef production as much as possible. By combining today's best practices with future technology, will enable everybody involved in beef supply chains to make beef less impactful and work towards a sustainable food future. My product is a blue ocean market because there is no other company in the market that filters out methane. According to the Environmental Defense Fund, the methane mitigation service sector has nearly doubled in size since 2017. The manufacturing industry has grown by 1/3 since 2014. What does my market look like? My current market is for farmers with cattle who are willing to help the planet. My soon-to-be market is for farmers who don't have cows but have sustainable farming practices. The market that will not buy my product will be those who are skeptical of the product. The market that I haven't reached are those who don't believe in the impacts of global warming. The cost to make MIFS is estimated around $47, including cost of zeolite, copper, and other material. We would sell the product at $60 and make a profit of an estimated $13. MIFS contributes to methane reduction through what I'm calling the 4 Rs. It removes cow burp's effects on global warming, it raises awareness for farmers, it reduces methane emission, and it recreates an affordable solution for farmers. The public is becoming more and more interested in consuming sustainable food. Governments are creating more and more regulations to promote efficient farming, and due to space constraints, overcrowded and dense farming will become more prevalent. The need for methane mitigation will only be more important. So there is no doubt that MIFS will become a global solution as sustainable farming is no longer the future. It is the present.